All right, thanks, guys. Coming off another solid day, we went 15-8-1 in our Major League Baseball leans for Saturday. So let's go ahead and see if we can improve a little bit and get the job done here for Sunday and Sunday's Major League Baseball action. We're actually very hot on Patreon right now as well. We are, let me just take a look here real quick, because I think I have the numbers here for you. We are 15-3 in our last 18 Patreon plays. So if you're not linked to that website, click the link in the description section below, patreon.com/BrockPage, where you can get all the winners, at least for right now. All right, let's go ahead and slide into some free Major League Baseball leans right here on YouTube for Sunday, July 14th, and we're going to begin with the Rays taking on the Orioles, 105 Eastern first pitch at the Inner Harbor in Baltimore. And actually, if you guys remember, I don't know if you guys watch my live streams during football season, but one of my co-MCs, Lamar Bowe, he's actually in Camden Yards today at the Inner Harbor. He'll be watching the game. He was actually at the Horseshoe last night and stopped by to one of the cabarets. I think it was the Ritz Cabaret. So if there's any Baltimore guys down there, he said it was the absolute best gentleman's club he's ever been to. So I wonder what happened there. But anyway, once again, Rays taking on the Orioles, 105 Eastern first pitch at the Inner Harbor, Camden Yards. No line currently posted for this game. We have Ryan Stanek for the Rays, Tom Eshelman for the Orioles. Stanek comes into this game with a 3.26 ERA and a 1.17 WHIP. He also has 54 strikeouts in 49 2/3 innings pitched. Tampa Bay has been pretty solid when traveling this year. They're 28-18 away from home. They're second in the AL East. 14 games over 500. They're 54-40 overall for the year, 8-4 in their last dozen. They also rank first in runs allowed on average per game. Now, Baltimore on the other side, they're 28th in scoring, last in the AL East. They're 28-64 overall for the year, which is going to put them at 36 games under 500. So with all that said and done, I know when these lines open up, Tampa Bay will be the favorite. So let's just take them on the run line now. Give me Tampa Bay -1.5, getting the job done for some run line cash. All right, next game, Nationals, Phillies, 105 South Philly, Citizens Bank Park. The Fightins are -110, totals at 10.5. No movement on the money line, pretty good two-way action there. We did see some movement upward on the total. So once again, Philly opened and remains -110. Total open 10 up to 10.5. 55% of the consensus is leaning toward Washington. 64% shaded toward the under. We have Anibal Sanchez for the Nationals, Jake Arrieta for the Phils. Arrieta comes into this game with a 4.67 ERA and a rotund 1.46 WHIP. Now Sanchez on the other side, 3.66 ERA, 75 strikeouts in just 83 2/3 innings pitched. Washington is second in the NL East, just 6 games behind Atlanta for first place in that division. They're winners in 8 out of their last 9 ball games. They're also 7-1 in their last 8 on the road. The Nats are 7th in runs allowed when traveling. They're also 4th in hits allowed in that same category. One more stat about the Nationals. They are 2nd in Major League Baseball in striking batters out on average per game. Now the Phillies on the other side, a little bit of a different story. They've dropped 5 out of their last 7 ball games. They're just 20-26 against the spread at home. And of course, when I refer to the spread, I'm referring to the run line. They are in 3rd place in the NL East, 8.5 games behind Atlanta for that top spot. The Phillies really struggling against Washington this year. Winners in just 4 out of 13 head-to-head matchups with the Nats. The Phils also have been victorious in just 9 out of 32 ball games as the official Vegas underdog. They're 21st in hits allowed at home. When it comes to the total, Philly is 27-19 to the under at Citizens Bank Park. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Washington plus $1 and the under 10.5 in that game. Next matchup, Blue Jays, Yankees, 105, New York. The Yankees are minus 200, totals at 10. We did see a nickel fade of the Yankees and movement downward on the total. New York opened 205, down to minus 200. Total open 10.5, down to 10 flat. We have Marcus Stroman for the Jays, Masahiro Tanaka for the Yankees. Tanaka's 5-5 on the year with a 3.86 ERA and a 1.18 WHIP. Stroman on the other side, 5-9 on the year, 1.26 WHIP. Toronto's been very, very bad. Now the Yankees are first in the AL East, 58-32 overall for the year. It's going to put them at 26 games over 500. They're also 24.5 games ahead of Toronto in this division. The Toronto Blue Jays are 35-58 overall for the year, 23 games under 500. They've also won just 17 out of 45 games away from home. Now, total-wise, Toronto's 5-3 to the under, taking on the Yankees. New York 60% to the under at home. Give me the Yankees, minus 1.5, and the under 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Mets, Marlins, 110, South Florida. The Mets are minus 220, totals at 7. We saw a pretty big move toward the Mets. Some books had them opening up at 175, some had them opening up at 185, but wherever you're shopping, a pretty big move toward the Mets in the early going here. We also saw a movement downward on the total. Now I have the Mets opening up at 175, all the way up to minus 220. Total open 7.5, down to 7 flat. 52% are leaning Mets, 64% shaded toward the over. Right now, Miami's plus 190 on the money line. The Mets minus $1.15 on the run line. We have Jake DeGrom for the Mets, Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins. Alcantara is coming into this game with a 1.40 whip. He's also walked 47 batters thus far in the year. Jake DeGrom on the other side, 3.27 ERA, 1.09 whip. He has 138 strikeouts in just 110 innings pitched. Now, the Marlins are dead last in the NL East, just 34-56 overall for the year. They've also won just 16 out of 46 at home. The Marlins dropped 7 out of their last 9 ball games. They've won just 6 out of 17, where Sandy Alcantara made the start. They're winning just 30% of their ball games played at the current market price. Now, the Mets are 6-4 against the Marlins this year. They're also 17-13 taking on teams under 460. When it comes to the total, the Mets are 12-6 to the over. When Jake DeGrom makes the start, they're also 67% to the over when the line was 7 or less. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean New York Mets minus 1.5 and the over 7 runs in that game. Next matchup, Minnesota, Cleveland. 110 Eastern first pitch at Progressive Field. The Indians are minus 140, totals 8.5. We saw a nickel move toward the Indians and movement downward on the total. Once again, Cleveland open 135, up to minus 140. Total open 9, down to 8.5. 52% are leaning Minnesota, 53% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Twins are plus 130 on the money line. Cleveland plus $1.45 on the run line. We have Jose Barrios for the Twins, Shane Bieber for the Indians. Barrios is 8-5 with a 3.00 ERA and a 1.11 WHIP. Barrios has also amassed 104 strikeouts in just 117 innings pitched. Minnesota's first in scoring, first in hits, first in the AL Central. They're 7.5 games ahead of Cleveland thus far in the year. They're also 12-6 when Barrios makes the start. They're 5-3 against these very Indians, and they're winning 62% of their games, taking on teams over 540. Now, Cleveland on the other side ranked 20th in scoring, 26th in hits. They're also just 19-26 against the spread at home. When it comes to the total, Minnesota's 12-6 to the over when Barrios makes the start. I'm going to lean Minnesota Twins plus 1.5 and the over 8.5 in that game. Next matchup, Giants, Brewers, 210, Milwaukee. The Brewers are minus 165, totals at 10. We saw a nickel fade of Milwaukee and movement downward on the total. The Brewers open $1.70, down to 165. Total open 10.5, down to 10 flat. 70% are leaning Milwaukee, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Giants are plus 155 on the money line. Milwaukee plus $1.15 on the run line. We have Bede for the Giants, Chacin for the Brewers. Bede comes into this game for the Giants with a 2-3 record, 5.64 ERA, and a 1.66 WHIP. Milwaukee's second place in the NL Central, just 1.5 games back of that first place mark. They are third in offensive walks and third in striking batters out at home. The Giants, on the other side, 26th in scoring, dead last in hits. They're winning just 42% of their games as the official Vegas underdog, and they're winning just 38% of their games at the current market price. Now, total-wise, San Fran is 23-10 to the over, taking on teams between 460 and 540. Give me the Brewers, minus 165, and the over 10 runs in that game. Next match.